Thank you very much, President Kevin and all my fellow Rotarians. We had an incredible time. Didn't even know this was a possibility when we joined this club 3 years ago, but it was incredible. So everybody here except for one is with us. So Missionvale, South Africa. We went in May. Didn't know a lot about the history of South Africa before we went, but there's an area comparison how huge this continent is. The 11 languages that they speak in South Africa, Afrikaans as well as Zulu, couldn't master either one, but Arit will talk to us about that. And kind of wanted to know what they do in South Africa for finances, because the area we were in were so desperately poor. A lot of assembly plants for the big motor vehicles, as well as the Southern Hemisphere loading facility. So there is money there, it's just not getting distributed. So here's our lovely, lovely group. Sister Ethel Normal is in the middle, and on flanking both sides on the left are Jen and Sue, who are the Vice President and President of Missionvale, USA. Why we traveled this far? Only took 2 days, not too bad. And we had to look really too at the four-way test compared to what they're doing there, and although it's written in a different way, it's pretty similar. We're helping humanity any way that we possibly can. So Sister Normal, who was from Ireland, joined her order when she was 18 years old, and then was sent to South Africa with 8 other ladies to Pretoria. And then she alone, out of the 8, was sent to South Africa to Missionvale to help. So this is Missionvale. You can see the dirt roads. There are only a few paved roads there at all. And these are the children, which were absolutely just true blessings for all of us. Always a smile on their face, always a hug ready to give, and not let you go. It was just marvelous. So Mother Teresa was one of her mentors, and she went to India as well. Queen Elizabeth has been there, and in her speech in, I think it was 94, spoke about Missionvale. She's a Paul Harris Fellow. She was awarded the Peace Prize in 96. And this is one of the hymns that the ladies were singing a lot. And this was, Are We Ready? And we are. So the sister who was sent there really talked to her community. The community of Missionvale is about 75,000 people. Most of them living in little shanty houses. She talked to them and said, what is it that I can do to help you besides her nursing skills? And it was to have a church and a community center for them. So this gentleman, who's no longer alive, but passed around a little matchbook, and they got 11 cents. And that was the beginning of Missionvale. So this is the tree that Sister Ethel was offered. It belonged to somebody else at that time, and she said she could have classes. She could teach children underneath this tree. And when the rainy seasons came, they gave her a shed. And so she was working in a shed. The ladies who work at Missionvale every day, they begin with devotionals right before they start their jobs. And it's not like a few cursory hymns. It's maybe 15, 20 minutes to begin their day. So this is our very first day, and I'll just give you a little. So you can hear the love in their voices, and so many times throughout our visit, they just sing. They are singing nation. So this is the compound that they have now. It is a gated community. They do have a gentleman that lives on site, which is the caretaker for when it's closed in the evenings. And this is the compound. I know it's kind of hard to see, but they have acreage for a garden, But they also have, the school is inside here, the health clinic is in here, nutrition unit, etc. So this was the important part for them. They wanted that community center so that they could have things for the community, not just for Missionvale. So these are the ladies that run it, Sister Ethel, obviously, and then Sabrina and Linda. They are the backbone of everything. So our very first day, Linda took us on a tour so we wouldn't get lost, and showed us all the opportunities that we would have. In the community hall, it's a record of everything that has transpired. There are newspaper clippings, there are articles and magazines, there's photographs that are all the wallpaper. And this was, we'd spend time just reading what was going on. It was incredible. Just like us in California, they're in a drought. And it's extremely severe drought. So hand washing is just the bowls, the water spigots that they have are turned off, and you wash your hands in the bowls here. So the stage in the community center is used for the community, for graduation, for whatever they need. And the community hall is for new friendships as well. So this is Keaton, Zan's 19-year-old son who joined us. And he and Sister Ethel had a really special relationship. I mean, it was wonderful. So this is the inside compound. That's the administration building and the nutrition unit. And you can see here, Ben Worthington is on the board of directors for Missionvale, USA, but he's an employee with the Ford plant. And he works very closely trying to garner funds for the mission. So the nutrition unit. The nutrition unit is probably the biggest draw for everybody there. They do purchase with funds that are given that don't have a designation on them. So the bread, flour, tea bags, sugar, etc. And then the people gather outside those gates that were yellow. And there is a pecking order. So it's the elderly women that are allowed to come first, the elderly gentlemen, then the ladies with children, and then the other gentlemen can line up for the food. So while we're prepping in the back, before they open the windows, there's always somebody there singing devotionals. These people have nothing, yet they are so proud to have whatever they have and willing to share it. It was quite incredible. So the people that can come, there are 700 families that come to Missionvale for supplies or help. And about 500 receive food parcels, which is a different part of the group. So they have benches there that have a shade covering, because it can be pretty toasty, where they can wait, and that's where they do the devotionals as well. And behind the scenes, they purchase loaves of bread, which then are cut into half. And so people can come to the window. This is the 700 people. Can come to the window, get a half a loaf of bread and 1 cup of dry soup powder. They can come every day if they need to. So here's wrapping tea bags and cutting soap into bars. So we used everything. So the plastic bags that the bread came in were then reused as wrappings for the 5 tea bags that they are given for the week. The bars of soap are 2 different kind of bars of soap. The green one was a laundry soap that they could use for scrubbing. And then they had a white bar, which was a body soap that had to be wrapped as well. Now the containers, the cardboard bottoms of the containers then went to the Father Christmas unit. So everything is recycled and reused there. So here are the tins of food that are purchased. And this is the 530 families. Each week can come one day to get this parcel of food. So it's 1 tin of fish, 1 tin of beans, 5 tea bags, 2 cups of brown sugar, and then the 2 bars of soap. And for some families, this is it for the week, which is staggering. One of Sister Ethel's true believings is that if you're going to receive something, she really wants you to be able to give something back. So it's not a handout, you have respect for what's being done for you and respect for your environment. So everybody who receives bread or a parcel brings in a piece of aluminum or tin. So be it a soda bottle or a tin can, but they must bring something to be recycled before they can come to the window. The line goes several hours long. The people are so respectful. They smile, hello. I was an auntie, I have white hair, so I was considered an auntie. And they'd just come up and, good morning, auntie. They were just lovely. And this is the powdered soup mix. We're told it was a high protein powdered soup mix. And she was lovely. We've noticed that several of the families who received a half a loaf of bread, when they got outside the compound gates, were sharing their half of loaf of bread with somebody who didn't get one, which was just broke your heart. But the humanity that they feel for one another was just amazing. This happened the day that I happened to be working in the nutrition unit. At the very end, the shelves were literally bare, and a note came to the window, and it says, please help with something to eat, thanks. So this is a person, I was told, that probably is not part of the 700 people that have been identified, but they need help, they have something. So they go in the back, they find anything that they can find to help these families out. This is Mary, and she's working here the weekly food parcels as to who gets them and who doesn't. Now, these ladies sing devotionals in the morning. They work all day. About 3 o'clock when the window closes, that's when they're cleaning up. And this is at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Through the highest mountain, and you go to the lowest valley, all the night, and give me strength from day to
They were always singing. Whether they were sweeping the floors, they were scrubbing the counters, it didn't matter where you went. These beautiful people always had joy in their heart. The Missionvale Center Academy is their primary school. The primary school was started with a kindergarten, and then they added the next year a first grade, and a second grade, and a third grade. And at that point, they really realized they needed to get these kids earlier. So they started 2 reception classes for the 3-year-olds and the 4-year-olds. And once that was accomplished, then they added the 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, and 2 years ago they added a 7th grade. The children do have to apply. Anybody in the township of 75,000 can ask to be enrolled. The one staggering thing for me was that on the home visits, there were so many children not enrolled in any school at all. But they do have school fees, they do have school uniforms. School is not provided for with any taxes. So many of the children can't afford school, let alone something to eat. So this is Orit, she's gonna talk in a little bit. She taught some of the 7th grade students in Afrikaans. So when Orit was going to school, they had to learn English as well as Afrikaans. So these children were absolutely amazed when she started speaking in Afrikaans to them. and she'll talk to you about that later. And then Mariah got sucked into teaching every single day at the school. She finally did kind of break away at the end of the week to go see some other aspects of Missionvale, but she taught from the little preschoolers all the way up to the 7th graders. And when they would see her out and about, they needed her to do some more lessons. So this is her with the after-school program. You notice these children aren't in uniform, so these are the after-school program children. They really didn't want her to leave at all. At the school, every morning we made 350 sandwiches. Spread, little butter. If we had peanut butter, peanut butter. If not, maybe jam. And if we didn't have that, it was just butter. 200 of those sandwiches go to the children who are enrolled in the school for lunch. So they have some juice and they have a sandwich for lunch. The other 150 sandwiches are for the after-school program. So that was a busy time. The children then take the sandwiches to their classrooms to eat. And this, do you want to talk about this after? Okay. One of the things when we were speaking with the principal of the school, and she was a tough cookie too. I mean, yeah, she was amazing. But she said the one thing that she really, really wanted to focus on to do was several of the children, their ambition in life was to be the first person in line for the food. Not to get an education, not to, have a happy day or whatever, but to get a sandwich, which is, it just boggles your mind. So at graduation at 7th grade, then they could go on to the secondary school, which is run by the local district. So Sister Essel thinks the 3 H's versus the 3 R's, the head being the academics, the heart, your character and moral development, and your hands, what can you do for skills, the arts, and the culture. International grant, the computer lab was a Rotary International grant. This is the older computer lab, and now they have 10 new laptops that they use, but these are the parents coming in. They're doing classes for the parents to come in and learn how to use computers so they can help support their children. The clothing warehouse was incredible. Sometimes they have donations, and other times they don't have donations. The families of Missionvale are invited to come twice a year to get brand new clothes for their entire family. So if they have the donations, that's wonderful, and if they don't, then you saw. Tom's Shoes had a wonderful relationship. So if you've seen the ads or you've bought the Tom's Shoes and it says 1 for 1, you buy one, they donate one, they actually really do. Most of the children in the school were wearing Tom's Shoes, as were their parents. They have about another 1.5 years supply, but the problem is the government of South Africa has said that they are taking away from the South African businesses and the money that they may earn, and they're refusing to allow Tom's to donate anymore. So Chip knows a guy. We've talked, Sydney, that he went to Villanova with. So we're going to start a little letter writing campaign and see if we can't get some things reversed. The home care unit, these ladies are absolutely incredible. There's a few RNs, mostly LVNs, or just volunteers. They give them training, and out they go into the community. There's Keaton. He went with me on the day of home visits. A lot of women that are alone, their families maybe have moved on. They have diabetes, they have glaucoma, they have breathing problems because a lot of the heaters are paraffin heaters, and therefore they're breathing these fumes all the time. HIV/AIDS and is a real problem, and the children of these mothers and fathers that have HIV/AIDS, and making sure they understand that you have to take your medicine every day. This little lady right here pays $1.50 a month to rent this room, and this is the other side of the room. Not too much insulation or anything else. They use outhouses. When the government came in and started developing the land for them, they put in tubs and they put in toilets and they put in sinks. They did not put in any plumbing. So they have these rooms, they just use them for storage. This gentleman had tuberculosis as well as AIDS, HIV, and it was pretty desperate. His wife had left him and taken the children. This is a multi-generational family. So we have the mother who was in her 90s, her son, and then her grandson there. So they're trying to find out why she's not doing so well. So anybody the caregiver saw walking around in the home visits, they would stop and chat. How are you doing? Is there anything you need? And they might not be registered in the program, but they want to know how people are doing. That love that they showed, the compassion they showed, was just inspiring. Doing laundry, taking your laundry in your bucket, going down to the spigot to wash it. So there are 16 spigots for water in a township of 75,000. 11 of the 16 work. Now you have to wait your turn to do it. The children will also recycle everything. All he wanted to do was make a little kite, which he did, and he was off to fly it. Now, this is the electrical DIY. They have huge towers for electricity. It's kind of like they beam over the whole area, but then people shimmy up these poles and then they start adding new lines, shall we say. Yeah, it's amazing. The community gardens. So they have gardens that they grow food at that they can give away for free at the nutrition unit, but they also have plots that you can have your own plot for your own family. And if you are able to grow more than your family needs and you don't give it away, you could possibly sell it and start your own little industry. These are the green beans and whatnot and lettuce that they were giving away when we were there. The crafters unit, they take in these lovely ladies, teach them a skill and a trade. If they want to grow their own business, Sister Ethel has grants where they can buy them a sewing machine and they can set off on their own. They make the school uniforms. These are what they were working on when we were there. They were making carry plastic bags to be sold. It was a contract that they had. Keaton they're doing the fine art of small little tiny beading, and they trusted Zan to sew some pillows, which was wonderful. Sue was with the knitters, and this young lady they've taken under her wing, and Sue will tell you a little about them in a minute. So, as I said, they sing, they dance, but this is why, one of the reasons we have it. She just said, come on, skinny, dance with me, but she was having none of it. There's Mariah beading. Now we're coming upon the reason we go. why you go, to be with these people and have them really understand that you are there for them. They are teaching us so much, and it was such a gift. But a lot of us felt like, the money we could give them versus flying and, hotels, etc. But this is why you go, because the people need to be with you and see with you and understand why you're there. Carpentry unit has a contract for building some chairs, as well as teaching other families. They take some of the wooden pallets apart, and then they can refurbish their little houses with them. The care clinic was started, the very first thing with Sister Ethel. This one was given back to the township. So right now is you go to the clinic first, you're evaluated. If they deem it necessary, then you go on and you can receive help within the Missionvale unit itself. It's all volunteer medical, nurses as well as dentals or opticians. The waiting room, we only had one doctor one afternoon the week we were there. And the Father Christmas unit, she really wanted everybody in the township to be able to have something for Christmas. This is Rachel, that's her full-time job. She wraps things in the newspaper, Tom's shoes again, a bag of marbles, and a new t-shirt. And all the boys 10 to 11 were getting this coming year. She hand decorates everything and entrusted us to put some little circles on them and give them out. Last year they gave out over 5,000 Christmas parcels to various ages in the township. And then the after school, here's Mariah. She's got a little app on her phone, so she has a little keyboard, so she can play music wherever she goes. The children receiving one of their sandwiches after school program, exercise, playing netball, dancing, music, and our very last day, the choir came to sing us off. Sue, who's the vice president of Missionvale, after 10 years of auditioning, was finally accepted into their choir. Beautiful. So that's just about when we were having to say goodbye. And it was hard for all of us. It was too short, but enough that we have love in our hearts for these people and all that they're doing. These little ones did not want us to leave, and they thought they could come with us. So the van, you can see there, Rotary Club of Coronado. Wahoo! It took us everywhere, which was marvelous. And we thank everybody who funded it before our time. The food, the textbooks, the computers, all the different Rotary clubs that have helped Sister Ethel in Missionvale. And this is the board of directors for Missionvale USA. You can see Dan over there and Jill at the bottom. Sister Ethel, when they became a 501c3, and her letter of thanks. This is Jen, the president, and that is Sue. And this was the $70,000 from Missionvale USA that was presented when we were there. Here are their revenues and expenses for this past year. 99.75% of everything they earn goes directly to Missionvale. The history of giving since it was formed. and how we can give. So Dan and his daughter Brooke are right now walking the 500 miles, and 100% of whatever we want to give will go directly to Missionvale. They're on day 3. So not too many blisters yet, I don't think. And I'll ask Dan to put the website in the minutes. And this is why we went, these beautiful, beautiful children. Now, while we were there, Ori had a lot of fun for us with 3 other Rotarian groups there. So we did Johannesburg and met with them. We had a lunch meeting with them. It was marvelous, only about 25 members. And then they took us to dinner and wined and dined us, toasted Rotary. Then when we were in Port Elizabeth, we were wined and dined in their homes. And then we got to listen to their RILA report. And I told Ivan yesterday that they also had to give up their cell phones for RILA. And this young lady said it was the best thing ever to give up her phone. They had a braai, which is their barbecue on the beach. So 2 Rotarian clubs sponsored us for the braai. And they just couldn't have been more hospitable. We learned about all sorts of wonderful and divine foods. We ate in Soweto at a beautiful restaurant on Mother's Day, and the ladies were divine. Their regalia, I would say, but their dress was beautiful. The Apartheid Museum that we went to in Johannesburg, this is a bull elephant. A huge bull elephant. We stopped our little van and just waited for him. And waited, and waited. Zebras, ostriches, wonderful dining out on the beach. This is on the Indian Ocean side. Then trekking in a national park. Staying at this beautiful lodge, which we realized that we booked 1 night, maybe 2 would have been better. A beautiful dining experience for all of us. Cape Town, now we did take a picture of a postcard. It was overcast and gray and drizzly the whole time. It's autumn there. And Table Mountain. And 2 wineries. So this winery, actually the woman that was our hostess happens to be the Rotary Club president of there. We didn't know it. It wasn't planned. It was just, oh, by the way, why are you here? Stellenbosch and Boschen. Franschhoek, thank you. The protea is their national flower. We saw those at the Botanical Gardens. We saw the penguins, which is marvelous. And this was our last night together. And I must admit, if you haven't done a Rotary vacation together, really a mission trip, to get to know other Rotarians in a different way, in a different light, was absolutely incredible. And we thank you, because we would have never done this on our own, but thank you for organizing it. That was painted on the wall by the nutrition unit. So that was now we're gonna have my folks come up. Is that all right? To come up and